Good evening, and welcome to another live conversation here at Bethel. It's great to have you back with us this evening, and it's great to be here on this beautiful evening that we have here. Tonight we've got another very special person with us here that does a lot for our church, a lot for our congregation, and a lot for our community. He's been with Bethel for a very long time as well, and we're certainly glad to have him with us.
When you see broken beyond repair, I see healing beyond belief. When you see too far gone, I see you one step away from home. How many times can one heart break? It was never supposed to be this way. Look in the mirror, but you find someone you never thought you'd be. Oh, but I can still recognize the one I love in your tear-stained eyes. I know you might not see him now, so lift your eyes to me. When you see broken beyond repair, I see healing beyond belief. When you see too far gone, I see you one step away from home. When you see nothing but damaged goods, I see something good in the making. I'm not finished yet. Oh, when you see wounded, I see mended.
Mr. Andy Shriver, how are you going tonight?
Just fine. How are you doing?
Doing okay. So I want to make sure everybody understands who Andy Shriver is. And for those of you that have been watching online, he's our Garth Brooks of Bethel. So he's the one up here on the praise team with the guitar and helping lead that team. So he does a great job with that.
Thank you.
And we'll get you a hat, don't worry.
I need that in my guitar right now. I'm a little out of my comfort
It would
zone.
feel more comfortable with your guitar.
For sure.
Well, I know I'm friends with you on Facebook, and I know that you posted several of those videos on Facebook, and it's always neat to hear your renditions of those. Those are pretty cool.
Well, thank you.
Do a good job. You doing okay tonight?
Doing fine. Enjoying the weather. It's beautiful weather today.
It has been. It's been very nice. Finally warming up.
Yes.
I'm tired of cold. I truly am ready just for.
I personally enjoy the cold a little better.
Well, I used to be that way.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm just tired of being cold. You know, I'm ready for it to be warm again for a little bit.
Cold to your bones.
I'll get over that, and I'll whine about it being hot. But at this point in
point in
time, I'm ready for the cold to be done.
Yeah.
How's your mom and dad doing?
They're doing good. Normal aches and pains of just getting older, but they keep pushing on.
Yep, I've seen your dad here a couple times recently, so it's been it's always good to see them.
Yeah, he sneaks in on Wednesdays to pick up Nora and drop her off to Awana's, so he enjoys that.
Very good. It's great to have their help.
Yeah.
They're still living out there on Wadesville Road?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Not too far from me, so it helps out with babysitting when, calls pop up that I have to go answer when I'm off duty, so.
Well, I don't imagine they ever have a problem with taking Nora.
No.
Yeah, that is kind of nice. I live right across the driveway from my parents, and it was always a big help when the kids were growing up. That anything would come up, or I'd be working late, or meetings. I always had meetings with church or 4-H or something, and they'd help with that. So it's helpful.
She's got her own room and bed and clothes and dressers. Pretty much second house to her.
Well, that's good. Well, Amy's mom and dad lived down in Montgomery, West Virginia. And the kids would go down every once in a while through the summer. Like, they'd take a few days and they'd go down and spend the day with them. And Caroline, my youngest, got to the point where Amy's mom got her a little silver bell. And Caroline was able to lay back in the bedroom with the TV on. And anytime she needed something, she was able to pick up that silver bell, and Mama Joe would go see what she needed and bring it to her.
Room service.
Yeah, it was room service. Yeah,
excellent.
I made sure Caroline understood that was not happening at home. So if they ever get to that point, you may want to put your foot down.
I'll keep that in mind. She does all right.
Yeah. Oh, good. How's Josh doing, your brother?
He's doing good. He's doing good. Don't ask me what his job title is because I have no idea. There's about 5 words to it. I just know he's a pretty important man in his line of work with Abbott. Something to do with pacemakers and in the heart. So
Oh, well, very good. I wasn't sure what his career was or what he was doing. So, he lives around here somewhere, right?
yeah, he lives. Lives most time during the week up in Columbus to go to
okay.
work, and then weekends comes back down to what he calls home or Shriver Mountain down in Ripley.
Oh, okay. I got
I
you.
think he's got 40 acres, something like that. Pretty much just a whole mountaintop is what he owns down there.
Wow, that is nice. Yeah. Kind of secluded.
Yeah, oh yeah. His I think his closest neighbor's like a quarter-mile away.
Well, I like that.
Yeah.
You know, being able to see or hear my neighbors is way too close for
Oh
me.
yeah, same here.
Well, good. So, so you grew up out in the Wadesville area, right?
Yes,
And you say your daughter is Nora.
she's Nora. She's just turned 6 at the end of April. So
Very good. 6 years old. But I know seeing her around here at the church, she's a very energetic young lady.
yes, very. Doesn't know a stranger either.
Well, that's good in a way, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Scary at times though.
I'm sure it can be very scary. So, you are a law enforcement person.
Yeah, I started in law enforcement in 2010, August 2010.
Okay.
So I've got just over 10 years on.
And what is a typical law enforcement career for retirement and stuff?
We're eligible for retirement in 20 years. You just can't do anything with like pension or anything until you turn 50. So I'm at that threshold where I had to put 29 years in to retire at 50. So it'll probably depend on, the way the shape the world is in at that point. Once I get my 20 in, whether I stick it out for another 9 years or retire early and go find something else to do.
Yeah. Do you have other career ideas or other hobbies that you do?
I like doing a lot of work with my hands, but sometimes that's hard to get into, especially being new into it. People don't want to try a new guy. They want somebody who's got experience behind them. So I don't know.
You've got a few years though to figure it out.
Yeah, I got about 9 years before I'd have to really start thinking about that.
Yeah.
And like I said, it would take a big shift in our local community to push me out sooner than 50 years old. So
Okay. So what is your title with law enforcement?
sergeant. I just made sergeant in 2018.
Very good. And you're with the Wood County Sheriff's Office?
Wood County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
Currently on night shift.
Okay.
I think out of 10 years, I've been on night shift about 7.5.
Well, that's, I'm sure you're used to that then.
Yeah. You get used to it after a while.
And I know a lot of people, myself included, think the streets change a lot when the sun goes down. Do you see much?
It's a different type of call. Like, you get a lot of just repetitious calls during the day that people just complaining about anything that you could think of under the sun. And it's like when the sun goes down is typically you deal with families that have gotten together because it's dark outside. So domestics,
Sure.
domestic battery, domestic abuse, those type of calls come across more frequently. And for whatever reason, people start drinking when the sun goes down. And
Well, you get off
we deal
work
with
and
a
go
lot of
home, right?
intoxicated people. So
Yeah. So, well, we certainly thank you for your service. It's the law enforcement that we have here in Wood County is, I've always thought of being top notch, and I've had a few discussions with some of the employees. So, it's always good to have them, and they've been out to the farm looking at a couple things every once in a while, and it's always good to know that they're there, for sure.
I get a lot of complaints out that way about side-by-sides and stuff
Well,
riding up and down the road.
we get a few of those come down the road. So it's one of those things. There's a lot of people out driving those things right
Yeah.
now. Yes.
Well, I think as a whole, our local community here in Wood County is very pro-law enforcement. They're very supportive of us, and that helps it go a long way for our morale at the office, to be able to continue to do the work that we do.
Absolutely. 'Cause I know there's you can't hardly turn the TV on
Oh, yeah.
or look at the news without seeing
disgusting.
something about against law enforcement or trying to limit law enforcement or trying to defund law enforcement. And
Yeah.
it's just
It's definitely discouraging at times.
absolutely, I can absolutely see that being very discouraging for y'all. How is the force react to stuff like that?
Well, like I said, locally, we have a lot of support for the community, but so our office, we really just take that with a grain of salt as far as what's on the news, because it's not really happening locally for us. So it's very beneficial for us to have that support from the community.
Okay.
Goes a long way.
Did you participate in the parade?
Tried to. I was actually on shift, so as soon as I got close, got sent to a call, got close again to getting in on the parade, and they ended up having some miscommunication on where they were going to cut across from Ohio into Wood County. So I was waiting for them to come across Blennerhassett Bridge, trying to get a good video of, it's like a quarter-mile stretch.
Oh, yeah.
But they ended up coming across the Belpre Bridge on in town. So got a call right after that anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to participate.
Yeah.
So one of the things about being on shift, you call come out, you got to go to it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's why you're on shift to do that, for sure. It's always great to. I think there's been a couple of those parades that have gone through the area here within the last year or so, and
The one last night was the title of it was Operation Blue Sky.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the second year we've done that one.
okay. Yeah, well, that's always a great show of support for the law
Yes.
enforcement. So, well, that's a good deal. So you talked about 9.5 years left before you
Yes.
and trying to figure out what to do. What kind of things from when you're ready to make that decision, would you do you ever have much trouble other than just domestic violence that would want you to get out of law enforcement earlier? Right? I mean, domestic violence can be bad enough.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, with the domestic violence, sometimes, that's how people communicate. And when we go into that call, doesn't look like communicating to us, looks like fighting. So you try to separate it, sometimes the only way of separating it's arrest one person and they get upset because now you're arresting the person that they were trying to talk to. But
Right.
like I said, it looked like fighting to us.
Yeah.
So as far as, I think I would go back to the community that, that's what kind of keeps us in check and sane, basically, is having support from the community and support from your immediate family. That goes a long way in being able to continue to do the work that we do, because the country, like you said, you see it on TV all the time. You can't turn a channel to one news station to another where it's not something negative about law enforcement. So I think it would take a change in our community and the support that we have outside of, our like-minded department
Right.
to push me for an early retirement.
Well, that I want to call that crazy community out there that is only 2 hours away in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, this is true.
That
Yeah.
I do wonder sometimes. I've seen different reports and different stories about the happenings in Columbus. And truly, that's only 2 hours away. So I wonder sometimes if how much overflow that would actually bring our way, or if any.
I mean, we get a trickle down effect of drugs moving from that area
Sure.
through Wood County toward Charleston and Huntington. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that that type of morale in the community or anti-law enforcement could trickle down this way. Certainly something to be mindful of and, prepare mentally, I guess.
Yeah, and like you said, what the years may bring, we
Yes.
may see that, but I think it would be the community that we have and the people that are here would be that would be very tough for something like that to move in.
Yeah.
You would think so,
Definitely.
anyhow.
It would take like pretty much an infiltration,
Yeah,
like an actual plan to do that, I think. I don't think just a few handful of people like what we get drugs moving in, you get a handful at a time coming in, bringing drugs in. It's not going to like immediately take over the community.
right. Yeah.
It would take some planning, but
Well, I mean, I certainly hope that we never get to that road or never have to cross that
Yes.
bridge. But
Yes.
we've certainly seen a lot of changes in Wood County. Just in even the last 30 or 40 years. I know I've seen a lot of changes, and even out in Mineral Wells, where it was, if you got off the interstate there really wasn't nothing but a gas station.
Yeah.
Well, now there's,
Yeah.
you can almost never have to leave Mineral Wells if you don't
there's
want
like
to.
3 or 4 gas stations as soon as you get off the interstate now.
Yeah, and some sort of
I think there's been one
off-road
out there
vehicle
and they
shop
shut it
out
off.
there.
Yeah.
It's causing trouble too every once in a while. So no, but it's good. It's great to see the community grow, and it's always great to have that support for you guys. There's no doubt about that. So, you've been in church all your life?
As long as I can remember.
As long as you can
so I guess
remember.
that'd be all my life, wouldn't it?
And has most of that been here at Bethel, or all has it been here at Bethel?
The majority has been. My childhood was here at Bethel, and that's really when I got a grasp of like who Jesus is, his death on the cross, the meaning of that, burial, resurrection, your path to salvation. I was saved young, but I don't think that I couldn't say that I quite 100% understood it until I had Nora, when I was kind of held responsible for somebody other than myself.
Yeah.
It's really eye-opening at that point.
It certainly is. You change your perspective.
But we could back up a few years before that. We actually went and attended Sarepta Baptist out close to home there, and that was quite a growing experience, especially in the music field, because my brother and 2 cousins, we had a little gospel band. It was called Next Generation at the
I didn't
time.
know that. That's very cool.
That we went around to different churches, sang for them, and it was a good learning time.
Yeah, very cool. Is that where you first learned to play the guitar?
Well, I played the guitar on the side, but my brother was better, still is, than I am, and so I picked up the bass instead. So I played the bass with the band, and brother grows up, he gets married, your cousins, they grow up, do their own thing on their own life, and you kind of separate. So I picked the guitar back up because it's really hard to play a bass without a guitar.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I didn't know you all were doing that. Yeah, I did that at one point. So
Yeah.
how long were you all together as that group?
I would say between 4 and 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
Wow. Well, that's very cool. Yeah, Sarepta is a little bitty church out there,
Little tiny
out there on
church.
the road, and
I think at one point our youth, I think we had youth probably close to 18, 20 kids at there, and regularly probably 50 members at one point.
Wow.
Not quite that many now.
Yeah, it's dropped off quite
There
a
may
bit.
be 10 total,
Wow.
kids and all. So
Yeah. Is that just because of COVID, or is that
I
turned
think
into that
that's
congregation?
I
even
think that's
before
those
COVID?
kids growing up, and they no longer come. Some of the older generation has passed on, So COVID certainly didn't help at all.
No. Well, it's a beautiful little church, that's for sure. Yeah, I've always known where Sarepta is because it's just right over the hill from me.
Yeah.
And where your place is just right over the hill. So, we always, whenever we're out riding horses and stuff, we'll ride past there every once in a while. So, neat little church.
An
So very
old-time
good.
church for sure.
Never been inside. So I've never visited that church for an actual service or
You
anything.
walk in, you got the chapel in the back room, so
Yeah, a lot of little churches were like
Yeah.
that. That's very cool.
and the outhouse out back.
Well, we'll just stick with the church. Shoot. So Nora grown up. Nora's 6 years old now. And,
Yeah, she's 6. She's really enjoying Awanas and Sparks. So we get to study those Bible verses, and honestly, that really helps me because I get to study them a little bit too with her. So I appreciate it. I think she enjoys it.
I'm glad. My kids grew up in Awana too, and I always looked at that too, and helping with them their verses. And I have to start memorizing them myself.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I want to set the example, and trying to be able to repeat back what they're learning too. So most of the time they were way ahead of me. So.
Yeah.
So they certainly change our perspective on things. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So you say Nora's helped change your perspective on how you're looking at
Yes,
your
certainly.
Christian
Because,
life.
like I said, I'm not only responsible for myself now. I've got her to worry about. So she's the center of my life. So I gotta keep her straight.
And,
So by keeping her straight, it keeps me straight.
yes, that's how that works. That's exactly how that works. For sure. Well, very good. I know I always looked up to your grandparents, Tom and Dot Shriver, when they were here at church. Your grandfather passed away several years back. He was
I
one of
believe
the
it was
elders.
97, 98 in that area.
Was he that old?
1997.
That
when he
was
passed away.
1997.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I knew it's several years back, and but I didn't get to know him very well. Got to know your grandmother a little better,
Mm-hmm.
and Dot was always.
I think you could flip over to Proverbs 31 and read the description of that. And
Proverbs 31 woman for sure. Well, she is. She was always full of smiles, always very positive, always very encouraging. So it's very nice to have and get to know her. Very blessed to be able to do that. So with the way things are going, how does your Christian life affect your work life?
it keeps me from, I guess, overreacting when someone's not quite listening to you. Those people are in a really hard spot that sometimes they break down and they know that they're in trouble. So you have to remember to, give grace to the humble, but those who don't listen to you, got to give them the law.
Sure.
There's plenty of opportunity to spread the gospel. I probably need to pick up the slack on that, on engaging in that a little more,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of opportunity.
Well, I think there's a lot of opportunity in all of our jobs. I know certainly opportunity in mine. Opportunity, I think, wherever you work, and that's one of the reasons that God has us in the positions we're in. Right? I think about the different companies that I've worked for over the years, and the different positions that I've held within those companies, and even the position that I have right now with the company that I work for, and think it's hard at times. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes that can get so stressful when you start thinking, man, is this really where I want to be? And I have to start thinking about, well, this is where God has me right now.
Yeah.
So it's what sometimes I think as Christians we really have to understand that. It's not just about where we've tried to be or the position we've tried to be in or the career we're trying to build, but it's more about where God has put us and making the most of it. So I would imagine in law enforcement, you see a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And kind of go along with what you're saying is everything that God does is for the good. It's just our perspective on how we view that at that moment. We may think it's bad, but years down the road, months, years down the road, when you look back, it's all for the good. Sometimes it's really hard to grasp that.
Absolutely it is.
It takes patience,
Yes.
and we're not a very patient species.
Well, it's learning to be willing to wait to see it is something that we all grow with, and as we learn to try to make sense of some of the circumstances that we've been thrust into or allowed to be part of or inserted ourselves into, whatever those circumstances may be. I certainly have circumstances in my life that I can look back and I can see how God was moving. But there's a few of those things that I truly don't think I'll ever understand until eternity comes.
Yeah.
And there's a few that helps me deal with some of those because those were very stressful times and thinking it would be difficult to try to make sense of it. And if I can just say, well, one of these days I'll know. One of these days I'll understand. It helps me anyhow. Do you ever have circumstances like that where you think you may never understand why?
I think maybe a topic come to mind would be like, you deal with someone you're on a call with someone, they're on drugs, they cry out for help, you get them help, EMS gets there, gives them Narcan, anything they need, take them to the hospital to get treatment, get out, right back on it.
Sure.
It makes you kind of lose a little bit of hope because you could go back out the next week and do it all again. I'm just thankful that God doesn't give up on us.
Amen. Preach it, brother. It can be discouraging at times. I agree. Thinking, I can't believe they're back there again, having to deal with that same person again, or I just want to walk away from that person and not have anything more to do with it. But I agree. I'm glad God has never done that with us.
Yes. Amen.
It gives us hope for other things. And certainly the example to follow of never giving up. And so, well, very good. One of the verses that you had said was your favorite verse, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Did I say that right? Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And that verse was your grandmother's favorite verse?
I believe it was grandma's favorite verse. I heard her, cite it and recite it again and again. I hold it dear.
Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 reads, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight." So if I had to learn to lean on my understanding, now, I'm an engineer, or at least I claim to be an engineer, and it's hard for me to think that, sometimes I might be wrong, although I certainly am. And that's out there now recorded and for the world to hear. So yes, dear, I am wrong once in a while. So, but leaning on God's ways and help keep our paths straight is certainly what we need. So when you're in a tough situation, does that verse ever come to mind?
Often. Something rings more importantly to me is the first part, trust in the Lord with all your heart. A lot of us can say, I trust in the Lord with all my heart. But I don't know that I think it's something we've been studying in Sunday school class, whether we're actually capable of that as human beings, to trust with all your heart. Just something to think about. Maybe like a self-evaluation. It's kind of what I've been doing lately.
Sure.
I fall short.
Yeah, well, you're not in that boat by yourself. That's for sure. We certainly fall short of honoring God in everything about our lives. So, okay. Well, Andy, it's been great to have you with us here tonight. Certainly appreciate you coming out and joining us. And certainly,
It's good to be here.
Certainly, I'd like to say if you ever need help with anything, certainly shout across the hill, and I'm certainly happy to do that. And certainly would want to think that if there's any way that I could show support or not get in the way of law enforcement around the county, I would certainly want to be able to help and support that as well. So we do appreciate all that you do.
Well, thank you. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate all you do here at Bethel as well. You're up here leading singing, and not everybody can do that. So that is a gift that you use, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been great talking with you.
Thank you.
As we finish up here tonight with Life Conversations, again, it's been great to have Andy with us. I hope you've enjoyed this and are able to take this and apply it to your life as well. Have a wonderful evening.
You see your worst mistake, I see the price I paid. There's nothing you could ever do to lose what grace has won. So hold on, it's not the end. No, this is where love's work begins. I'm making all things new, and I will make a miracle of you. When you see broken beyond repair, I see healing beyond belief. When you see too far gone, I see you one step away from home. When you see nothing but damaged goods, I see something good in the making. I'm not finished yet. Oh, when you see wounded, I see mended. I see my child, my beloved, a new creation you're becoming. You see the scars from when you fell. I see the stories they will tell. You see worthless, I see priceless. You see pain, but I see a purpose. You see unworthy, undeserving. Oh, but I see you through eyes of mercy. When you see broken beyond repair, I see healing beyond belief. You're not too far gone. You're just one step away from home. When you see nothing but damaged goods, I see something good in the making. I'm not finished yet. Oh, when you see wounded, I see mended. Oh, I see mended.